Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, How to Find, Evaluate, and Offer on Rental Properties. I'm going to be your host today. My name is Dave Meyer, and I'm super excited to have you all here today because this webinar, How to Find, Evaluate, and Offer on Rental Properties, is so important and is going to give you so many great tools to build momentum in your real estate portfolio and get you on that path towards financial freedom. Understanding and evaluating deals can be one of, if not the most intimidating part of real estate investing, but deal analysis, it's kind of my thing, which is why I'm so sure that you're going to learn a lot from today's webinar and we're going to have a lot of fun. So let's start off by going over the topics that we're going to be talking about in today's presentation. First things first, you are going to learn the secret to finding good deals both on and off market. And I know that this is something that people get tripped up on, so we're going to spend some time on this. Second, I'm going to teach you the 5 stages of deal analysis. So you're going to learn how to do this yourself. And I'm going to even give you a demo of tools that are going to make it really easy for you to analyze as many deals as you can possibly want to. And third, we're going to talk about how to overcome one of the big roadblocks that exist in today's current housing market, which is just getting your offer accepted. Because even if you find deals that you like, it's super competitive out there. So I'm actually going to share with you 7 solutions to getting your offer accepted. So that's what we're going to cover today. But before we get into it, I want to share with you a special invitation. At the end of this presentation, I'm going to make a special offer for those of you who want help getting on the path towards financial freedom and building your rental property portfolio through the right tools, through the right team, getting that expert education. So I'll talk more about that later, but just know that there is a special invitation and offer waiting for you at the end of the webinar. All right, so before we get into the content and the tactics and tips and stuff, let's just take a minute to set the scene here. Because I want to start with a question. What does financial freedom mean to you? And I know that you've probably heard this term, and maybe you see people on Instagram or you hear about some influencer telling you that financial freedom or investing is really all about luxury goods, expensive cars and boats. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with boats, guys. I have friends with boats, but I'm saying it's like a lot of people think that pursuing wealth is really about material goods. The truth is, I find that for most people, financial freedom and putting in the time and effort to build wealth is actually more about things like being able to spend time with your family. Or for me, one of my big motivators is being able to travel a lot. Or for other people, it might be about pursuing a hobby that you have. Now, everyone's vision about why they want to pursue financial freedom is likely very different, but all these visions actually have one thing in common, and it's actually not money, right? It's about time. It's about being able to get enough money so that you can buy back your time and spend your time doing the things that you really care about and that you're really passionate about. Now, if you're here watching this webinar today, you probably already know that real estate investing can help improve your life and pursue financial freedom. And maybe you are after that independence that I was just talking about. I think that's what most real estate investors are after. Or maybe you want to build generational wealth and sort of change the trajectory of your family tree. Or maybe you want to build a financial fortress that just helps you sleep at night because you know that you can handle those inevitable hiccups and challenges that just come with life. But whatever motivation has you here watching this webinar today, know that you can improve your financial situation and build wealth one rental property at a time. Now, if there's all these great benefits and real estate helps in so many ways, why is not everyone doing this, right? Well, there are real reservations that people have. For example, many people I talk to lack confidence. They don't really know what a good real estate deal looks like. But in all honesty, the best way to grow your confidence is simple. All you have to do is learn by self-educating and surrounding yourself with people who know more than you and who have experience and are willing to teach you. And of course, you also have to practice. Like you can grab tools, learn how to use them, and I promise your confidence is going to go through the roof. Or another reservation that I commonly hear is a fear of losing everything, right? Making the wrong investments. But in reality, choosing the right deals is not that hard if you're able to follow a simple analysis framework and repeatedly run numbers so that you know which deals are good and which ones you should walk away from. That's going to help you mitigate risk by buying the right deals, and that's really where success as a real estate investor comes from. And I know that you have reservations, and rest assured, everyone, I had them too. I felt the same way when I was in your shoes and I was just getting started, but I got to where I am today because I took the leap and committed myself to becoming a good real estate investor. Now, speaking of myself, if you guys don't know me, again, my name is Dave Meyer. Here are some facts about me. I have been an investor for 14 years. I work full-time at BiggerPockets as the Vice President of Market Intelligence. That means I get to do all sorts of cool stuff like study the housing market and share what I learn with all of you. I host a podcast called On the Market. I've written 2 books, Real Estate by the Numbers and Start with Strategy. And in addition to all those things that I've accomplished, I have also been able to become financially free. I live in Europe. My wife was transferred here for work, but it means that we get to travel. We get to spend our life how we want. But just remember, even though I've accomplished these things, I started from scratch just like everyone else. And it was definitely a really steep learning curve for me at the beginning. And at the beginning, I really wish that I had some tools and processes to follow. And I really wish I had a tool like BiggerPockets. For the first 6 years of my investing career, I didn't even know BiggerPockets existed. And it was not a very efficient time for me in my investing career. I made all sorts of mistakes. I really wasted a lot of time. And once I started working at BiggerPockets and I discovered the tools like the calculator, the rent estimator, the landlord forms, that I could use by being a member of the BiggerPockets community, I really scaled a lot faster. And lucky for all of you, you get to use those tools from the get-go, right? Like you can use all this stuff that took me 6 years to find immediately. And my story about using BiggerPockets to scale is really not unique. There are tens of thousands of people who have done the same thing. I just found this story recently in the forums from a guy named Jason who said that he was able to replace his 6-figure income with real estate in just 3.5 years. And his story is not unique. You can find more of these stories on the forums all the time. What Jason and what I and what all these other people have uncovered is that success in real estate investing is not some far off goal. What it's about is building momentum in the short term, and that it doesn't actually take that many properties to achieve financial freedom. What it takes is being able to identify really good properties that are aligned with your real estate investing strategy and that are going to offer you the best risk return profile. And that's what we're going to talk about today, how to find those specific deals. Even if you're not good at math, even if you have no experience in real estate, and even if you've never found a real estate deal before. By the end of this webinar, you're going to be able to do all these things. And this really matters because, as I was talking about before, if you can get better deals, that means faster financial freedom, right? You can buy 5 deals that are just okay, and that's not going to put you in that much of a better financial position. But you can buy 1 really good deal, and that's going to get you well on your way to financial freedom. And so we're going to talk a lot today about getting to those better deals. And if you get to that financial freedom, it gives you what most of us are after here, which is more time to live the life that you want and that you are dreaming about. But remember, guys, this is going to take work. Real estate is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's going to take effort, consistency, perseverance. But if you're willing to put in the time and to use the tools and systems that we talk about today, you can start building wealth and pursuing your financial dreams. All right, let's get into it. Step 1, as we talked about, is finding deals. And I know we talk about deals, but I think actually this part of the process should actually be called finding leads, because a deal is something that you actually go out and buy. But before you can do that, you need what is known as leads, which is basically a property that you are considering buying. So this is when a real estate agent sends you a property, or you go on a listing platform and scour for properties that look like they could potentially be a good investment for you. And you need to find leads because not everyone is going to be a good deal, right? You can't just go on a listing platform, pick anything off there, and this is going to be some cash flowing great deal for you. So what you need to do is get deal flow or lead flow. You need to be looking at a lot of different properties. So here are 4 lead sources that you can start using today. The first 3 that I'm going to talk about are direct mail, websites or using websites or SEO, and the third is driving for dollars. And I'm looping these all together because they're what I would call direct to seller tactics. These are ways of finding off-market deals. The sort of whole philosophy of off-market deals is to identify a seller who is willing to sell your property at a price that you agree on before it goes on the MLS. This is like before it goes on Zillow or Redfin or Realtor.com. And you do this by going out and identifying the properties that you want to buy and then contacting the seller. So you can do this through things like direct mail, which is sending them postcards or letters and making an offer or extending an invitation to have a conversation about their property. You can set up a website where you offer to buy cheap houses or something like that. Or you can do something like driving for dollars, which is going out and knocking on doors or directly identifying properties by driving around, walking around, biking around your neighborhood and trying to make contact with those sellers. And these are good tactics. They can help you find really good deals, but they're not for everyone because they do take a little bit more time and effort than my personal favorite strategy for finding sources, which is using an investor-friendly agent. And I know it's not the sexiest, it's not like the coolest thing to be talking about, but it is how I have found the vast majority of my deals. And it's still how I find deals today. I actually got a property under contract yesterday from on-market deal that my real estate agent sent me. I think that working with an investor-friendly agent is the best way to do it because one, they're gonna help you navigate through all the properties that are on the MLS and just focus on the ones that are best for you. They also have connections for you. Like my investor-friendly agent sends me off-market deals and sends me pocket listings like fairly regularly. I get the benefit of some of the work and networking that they're doing. And this is how I personally find deals. I don't do those off-market tactics. I have in the past, just once actually. I've only done it for one deal. And I know a lot of other people do it, but I've built a successful career as an investor just almost exclusively doing on-market deals. Now, if you're in on this idea and you want to do it, you might be asking, how do I find an investor-friendly agent? Well, BiggerPockets makes it easy to find an investor-friendly agent. Just go to biggerpockets.com/agent, put in a few criteria, a bit of information about yourself, and you will get matched with an agent completely for free, and you can start getting leads from them. All right, now that we've talked about different ways to get leads, let's move on to part 2, which is evaluating deals. Now, as we talked about, you're hopefully going to have a lot of leads coming in from your agent or your off-market tactics. And this is where you have to start thinking this as a funnel, right? Let's just imagine that you get 50 leads and you look at a couple of them, you do, look through the pictures, you look at the location, the size, all these different criteria, and you say, I like 20 of them. Now you have to take those 20 and actually analyze the numbers in detail to see which ones are going to offer you the best return on your investment. And I know that if you're new to this and you've never run the numbers on a deal before, this can be a little bit of intimidating, but I'm going to show you right now. I'm actually going to walk you through how to do this. But if you can use tools like the BiggerPockets rental property calculator, you can see that you can actually analyze these deals in like 5 to 10 minutes. So analyzing 20 deals is really not that big of a commitment. And I'm going to show you how to do it right now. So we're actually going to analyze this lead live. So I found this lead on the BiggerPockets website just before this webinar started. It is a deal in Memphis, Tennessee. It's 3-bed, 1.5 bath, 922 square feet. And it is on the market right now for $87,450. So I'm actually going to stop my presentation for just a second, and I am going to move over to the BiggerPockets calculator, and we're going to analyze this deal together. So we're going to analyze this using the BiggerPockets calculator. If you want to follow along or find this, all you got to do is go to BiggerPockets website, click on the tools thing on the top nav, and then just go to rental property. And as you can see on the left side here, there are actually 5 steps to deal analysis that we're going to walk through. First is property info. The second is the purchase details. Next, loans, rental income, and expenses. We're going to go through all of those quickly. So first things first, all we got to do is put in our street address, which I'm just going to copy and paste from the property listing here, which is 2911 Lake Park Road in Memphis. So I'm just going to copy that in. You can see it autofills here, and see on the bottom right, it says importing property data. We'll talk more about that later, but BiggerPockets is going to pull some information in there for you. Next, I like to add a photo because honestly, if you're analyzing 20 deals like I was just talking about, I forget the addresses and I find it easier to just remember with photos. So I'm just going to put one photo in here, but you may want to put all the photos in the future. So that's it for purchase information. Super easy, right? So that was step 1 of 5. Next, we look at purchase details. So this is stuff like the purchase price, which let's just assume for now that we're going to buy at full asking, which was, where was it? $87,450. So $87,450. And I'm going to put in closing costs at $3,500. Now, if you're curious about this, if you don't analyze a lot of deals and you're wondering like, how did I know $3,500? Well, I've done enough deals, but also if you ever got stuck doing deal analysis on these calculators, just click on these help buttons over here and they'll give you rules of thumb. So for example, it will say typical closing costs are 1 to 2% of purchase price. If unsure, use 1.5%. So you can just do that. Now, this also gives you the option to renovate the property, which I don't know anything about this property, guys. I just found it online, but at 87 grand, I'm assuming we're going to have to put a little bit of money into it. So I'm going to say that I think I can get this property up to 100 grand. That's the after repair value by putting $7,500 in, right? So I'm buying it for 87, putting in 7,500, and after I do those repairs, it will be worth 100,000. So that's it for our purchase conditions, and we're moving on to step 3. All we did so far, just as a reminder, is purchase property info and purchase details. We're on to step 3. Next is loan details, which I'm going to put in at 25% because as an out-of-state investor, that's typically what I put down. You can put down less. The way to know that is by talking to a lender. If you ever get stuck on this loan details part, guys, just talk to a lender. Go to biggerpockets.com/lenders. Meet with a lender. It's completely free. They'll tell you what you qualify for, what your down payment's going to be, what your rate's going to be. That's a no-brainer. So I'm going to put in 25%. I recently was quoted an interest rate of 7%. And I like fixed rate debt, so I'm going to put in 30-year terms. And we're done with step 3. Next, we move on to step 4, which is rental income. And this is where I think a lot of people get hung up because they don't know what they're going to rent it for. And some ways that you can do that is talk to a property manager or another investor. But at BiggerPockets, we actually have another tool called the Rent Estimator that will give you an estimate for rent. And you can see that we've already imported the rental estimate here for you. It says the median rent for this property is about $1,055 per month, and our confidence is very high. And the confidence is high because the rent estimate is based on 30 rentals in the area that are 3-bed, 1.5 bath, just like this one. And if you want to, you can click into this button here that says view rent estimates, and I'll show you. It will actually show you the exact comps that it's talking about. So you can see there are tons of different comps in the area, and that's how BiggerPockets is using the data to make this estimate for you. We're going to continue on in our analysis by using that estimate because BiggerPockets is very confident in it. Lastly, we go on to our expenses. Property taxes here are going to be $816 per year. Again, BiggerPockets uses public record data to pull in that information, and it knows it for you, making it super easy. For insurance, it's going to be $800 a month. I just Googled that before the webinar, which you can do. Like you can Google average single family insurance, Memphis, Tennessee, or talk to an insurance broker. Again, that's free. Best way to get an estimate. Then we're going to move on to what are known as variable expenses. These are things that you can't, they don't happen the same every single month or every single year, but you need to put some money aside to make sure that you have cash on hand when they do come up. So these are things like repairs and maintenance, vacancy, and capital expenditures. So repairs and maintenance for a property like this, I'm going to put 8% because I just think that's a good number. That's usually what I use. Vacancy, I'm going to do 8% too. And I like 8% because that's planning for 1 month of vacancy per year, which is high. Hopefully you don't have it that much, but I like to be conservative. And then capital expenditures, which is kind of like repairs and maintenance but it's for big stuff like the roof or the boiler or a hot hot water heater or to add value, like adding a new bedroom or something like that, it's actually treated differently by the IRS for tax purposes. So that's why you have to keep it separate. I'm going to put 6% for that. Then I'm going to put management fees. As an out-of-state investor, I do pay a property manager. I pay 8% in both markets I invest in. But if you're going to self-manage, you can put 0 here. That's nice. That will help boost your cash flow. And then we're going to move on to the last category of expenses, which is utilities. But this is a single family home. And when I buy single family homes, I just let the tenants pay the utilities themselves. So it's 0 for electricity, 0 for gas, 0 for water and sewer. Now you'll see that BiggerPockets knows that in this area, there is an HOA. It's $100 a month. So we put that in there for you. And for garbage, I'll put 0 and other put 0. And we're done, guys. I've been talking and you can hopefully see that I think I did this analysis in like 5 or 6 minutes. So if I wasn't talking, I could probably do this in 3 or 4 minutes. And at first it's going to take you a little bit longer. It will take you 15 minutes or 20 minutes. But once you get good at it, you'll see that you can do this quickly using these types of tools, and you'll be able to look at a lot of deals quickly. Now, what I see here when I analyze this deal is that it looks just okay. It's probably a little bit lower. I probably wouldn't offer on this property as is. It's showing a monthly cash flow of positive, which is great. It's $70 a month, $68 a month, and a cash on cash return that's not terrible of 2.5%. Personally, I look for a cash flow a little bit higher than that. I usually look for 3% minimum for areas that I think are going to appreciate well. And if it's an area that I don't think is going to appreciate and it's really a cash flow kind of deal, I'm going to target something more like 6 or 8% on cash return. You might be thinking, okay, this deal's bad. We're going to get rid of it. No. That's not how this works. Remember, this webinar is calling about evaluating and offering on deals. Well, this deal, we might not want to offer on as is, but if you go down here, the calculator, you can start to make a deal for yourself. I think a lot of investors don't, when they're first getting started, don't appreciate the fact that you don't just find deals in perfect offering situations always. You kind of have to, figure out what the right offer is. And so if this cash on cash returns too low, don't offer on that. So maybe what you need to do is change the purchase price, I don't know, to $82,500. So knock $5,000 off the purchase price. Well, in that case, that the cash on cash return goes up to 3.5%. That's a lot better. I might be willing to offer on that personally. You might not. What you might want to do is say, you know what, seller, I need you to buy down my interest rate. I need some concessions for you to buy down my interest rate a full point to 6%. Then we're getting a 5% cash on cash return, right? I don't know if the seller is going to accept those terms, and we're going to talk more about that in just a second. But using the calculator, you can figure out what deal is right for you and what you're willing to offer on. You don't have to just offer what the seller is asking for. Go in and be like, this is what would make me buy the deal. If the seller accepts it, great. If they don't, move on to one of the other 20 deals that you're evaluating and see which ones you can find a mutually agreeable solution for between you and the seller. Last things about the calculator, if you scroll down to the bottom, you can see all these other metrics that are super useful, like what your analyzed returns would be, profit if sold. And for example, this deal, you would earn 52 grand if you held it for 10 years, which would be awesome given how much you are investing of just 31 grand. Last thing is if you hit this share button here and then hit enable report sharing, you can download PDFs, which are super useful for a couple reasons. One, if you want to go find a lender, you can use this to show them that you know what you're talking about and you found a good deal. Maybe you're looking for a partner or to get a spouse on board with a deal. That showing them that you understand how to analyze deals and you're doing it in a really accurate, proven way is going to help you. And in some situations, you can actually show it to a seller. Like if you are going into a deal and you say like, listen, seller, to take on the risk of buying a property, to take on the work of running a rental property, I need a 5% cash on cash return. And at your listing price, it's just not worth it to me. So here's how I came up with the offer that I am offering you. I am just looking for a 5% cash on cash return. And here are the numbers that make sense for me. Tell that to the seller and you can show them that you're not just trying to nickel and dime them, that you have a reason for it. Again, they might not accept it, but at least you can show them there's math and logic and reason to your offer, and that could help it get accepted. All right, so that's it for deal analysis. Hopefully you can see that by using the right tools that this is not super complicated. I'm going to jump back into our presentation here, and we're going to move on. Now that you've learned to evaluate deals and take the guesswork out of deal analysis, when you have leads come in, you can start sorting into which ones are good and you actually want to make offers on, which brings us to part 3, offering on deals. So before we get into offering, you should ask yourself 2 questions. One is, do your numbers work? And I really want to hammer this point home, guys. If the numbers don't work on your leads, don't offer on them. That's the whole point of doing deal analysis, is finding the ones where numbers work. The second question is, how is the seller selling? Because you need to sort of look for clues as to what the seller is looking for, what condition the property is, how long the property's been on the market, to strategize on how to make a good offer. And the way that you can do that is, I've always worked with a real estate agent when I make offers. You can do it on your own. You can make, in certain states, it depends. You could do that on your own, but I've always done it with a real estate agent. I recommend you do it that way because they can also help you, give you sort of clues on what's going on in the market, what the seller might be looking for, what other sellers have recently been looking for. I always ask, every single time I've ever made an offer, I ask my agent first, like, what would you recommend for a strategy for making our offer? Now, I do have 7 different suggestions for you on how to get your offers accepted. I'm going to go through these quickly, so pay attention. Number 1 tip for getting your offer accepted is be the first. If you can get in there and be the first one to make a really strong offer and offer a short acceptance deadline, be like, here's a great offer for you, but you have to tell me in 24 hours, you might be able to sort of beat the herd and avoid some competition. Advice number 2 is be the last. I know this is sort of contradictory, but I did this yesterday, actually, in that deal I was telling you about. Sometimes people go in, a seller will say, hey, I want all of your highest and best offer by X date and X time. And if you come in with a strong offer at the end, you may be able to leapfrog some of the competition and not give them a chance to come back and outbid you. So being the last can also work. But again, you need to understand what the seller is looking for you. Third is keep it clean. Really complicated contracts with a lot of contingencies and a lot of caveats are going to scare away a lot of sellers. So try and keep it as clean as possible. Number 4 is consider offering them their price, but your terms. Sellers are often mostly focused on getting their number and are willing to be a little more flexible on terms like closing date or inspection periods. And so if you offer them their price, you might want to insist on your terms. And I think this goes to sort of a philosophy that I have, that when you're negotiating with the seller, they're not your adversary, they're your partner, right? You're looking for a mutually agreeable solution. And so when you're working with your partner, you give them something, which is their price, and you get something, which are your terms. So that's one offer. Another way to work with your partner is to offer potentially even a higher purchase price, but some concessions. So some people want to get a higher number. So maybe you say, I'll offer you $5,000 over asking, but I want you to fix that roof or to replace the boiler or to repave the driveway or whatever it is. Or maybe you want a rate buy down in today's environment. So again, work with your partner, which is the seller, to figure out what is mutually agreeable to you. Step 6 is offer multiple options. Sometimes sellers don't know exactly what they want. Again, you need to sort of talk to the seller, their agent, and figure this out. But sometimes you might be able to offer multiple options and see which one they like. And then lastly is offer again. If your first offer isn't accepted and the property doesn't sell, maybe you come back with a different offer and they'll get accepted. Or maybe if that property sits on the market for another month, offer the same offer again and see if they're more willing to accept it. So hopefully this can help, because we are in a competitive market, but these 7 tips can help you get your offer accepted. Let's just recap everything that we've talked about today, because we've covered a lot. Here are the steps to getting a rental property under contract. Step 1 is find deals with great leads. Step 2 is evaluate those deals with great tools. And step 3 is to offer on those deals with great tactics. Now, even knowing what you know and having learned everything that you've learned today, I know that for a lot of people who are new or haven't come to a webinar like this before, real estate investing can be intimidating and it can feel sort of like jumping off a cliff. But that's not true. It is not base jumping or skydiving or any extreme path. It's actually a lot milder than that. Real estate investing is more like hiking and walking on a path with your friends. And bear with me for just a minute while I continue this metaphor. When you go on a hike, what do you bring with you? For me, I usually go with experienced companions, especially if it's something I haven't done before. I also bring the right tools like a compass or a map. And I have a plan, like what trail I'm following and my destination that I'm trying to go on. And if you think about real estate investing, it's kind of the same thing, right? You bring experienced companions. You need a network of people who can support you on your journey. You also need the right tools like the calculator and rent estimator that I showed you. And you need a plan like the 3-step process that I just showed you. And I know this stuff and I know these things work because this is what we do at BiggerPockets. We provide tools, we provide training and community to help you find your deals, to help you evaluate your deals, to offer on deals and build momentum in your portfolio and start pursuing financial freedom. We actually have 3 million investors at BiggerPockets who are already using these tools and the processes that I'm sharing with you to fuel their financial dreams. And so with your permission, I'd like to make a special invitation for those of you who are looking to accelerate your real estate investing and to upgrade your toolkit with BiggerPockets Pro. BiggerPockets Pro is a one-stop shop to start, scale, and manage your entire real estate investing portfolio. You're going to get all sorts of benefits like the tools that I've been talking about, but if you're wondering how one subscription can possibly provide everything you need to start, scale, and manage your portfolio, allow me to briefly explain. First and foremost, Pro comes with the best deal analysis toolkits out there. If you know anything about me, I am all about deal analysis. I even wrote a book about it, Real Estate by the Numbers. And I use these tools. I use the calculators that I show you. I use the rental estimator that I show you. And you can use them too if you are a BiggerPockets Pro member. You also get access to elite level education. So you get exclusive live webinars. You get to attend workshops. I host many of them that are only for BiggerPockets Pro members that dive deep into specific topics and share cutting edge data and news and tactics that you should be using. And you also actually get 50% off all of our boot camps, which is such a good deal because you get access to some of the best investors in the business like Henry Washington, Ashley Kerr, Matt Faircloth. You get all of that as a pro. Next, you get to supercharge your network and meet the right people who are going to help you grow your business. We've seen that being a pro member actually gets you 3 times more connections in the BiggerPockets community than just by being a free member. And you get access to exclusive pro forums where a lot of the most serious and experienced members of our community are talking and operating. Lastly, you get your landlord command center. This is so cool. It's something that we added over the last couple of years, but it gives you access to really cool software like property management software from RentRedi. Everyone needs property management software and you get it for free from RentRedi by being a pro member. Normally that's $240. You also get portfolio monitoring and accounting software from Stessa, which I find super useful. And I know tons of investors use this platform too. And you get full suites of all the legal stuff that you need to be a landlord in any single state. This is stuff like lease agreements, pet addendums, everything that you need that normally you'd have to work with a lawyer to get, you get for free in any state as part of being a BiggerPockets Pro member. So all these things together really give you everything you need to start and build your portfolio, whether it's analysis, education, networking, or software. And one of the benefits too, guys, I'm not a CPA, but for a lot of people, Pro is actually tax deductible, so talk to your accountant because it might be deductible for you. Hopefully you take my word for it, but also take it from BiggerPockets Pro members. Aaron C says, there's no way I could analyze the volume of properties I do without being a Pro member. And And as we've talked about, being able to analyze a lot of deals is super important part of being a successful investor. Or Beth, who says that Pro has been the foundation of her real estate investing in Denver. Jackie says it's such a small cost for something that adds so much value. So you're probably wondering at this point, how much does Pro cost? And if you actually added up all the individual tools that I just shared with you, Pro would cost about $5,000. And that would probably be worth it, even if you used it to land one deal, because you'd earn a lot more than $5,000 if you found a great deal. But that's a really big investment. And at BiggerPockets, that is not what we're about. Our entire mission at BiggerPockets is to make real estate investing accessible to normal people. So we make all of these amazing tools of Pro available at a very reasonable price. BiggerPockets Pro is normally $39 a month, and that's $468 a year, a great deal if you pay every month. But we also offer an annual plan, which is just $390. So that's a good savings, but I can actually do even better for you. Because you've attended this webinar today and we want to get you on your path to financial freedom, we're going to offer you 20% off Pro Annual, which means you would pay just $312 if you go Pro today. So that's an incredible, honestly, screaming deal for everything that you get out of Pro. But we are feeling very generous, and we've actually put together some additional bonuses for you today if you go Pro. So just listen to what you would get. First is the Show Me the Money Starter Pack. This can help you if you are wondering how to finance your first deals. We got an ebook, 6 Steps to Eliminating Debt and Repairing Credit, a worksheet to build a bulletproof wealth plan, and a 9-hour workshop on no and low money down investing. This would be $470 by itself, but you're getting it for free if you go Pro today. Next, we know that the housing market's a bit confusing right now, so I've put together a Demystifying the Housing Market bundle, which features my 2024 State of Real Estate Investing report. We have videos on how to build scenario plans, which will help you invest even though the economy is uncertain, and we'll provide a guide to de-risking your investments in a changing economy. Our last bonus today is the Ace Your Analysis Toolkit. I love this one because I get to give you my book for free. This is Real Estate by the Numbers. I wrote it with the amazing Jay Scott. We're going to give you the book, which will teach you everything you need to know, plus Excel files that Jay and I use ourselves, which will give you plug and play analysis tools and videos to help you become an even better investor and better at deal analysis. This by itself, $229, but you're getting it for free. So this is the amazing value that you get with Pro, everything you need to build, scale, and manage your portfolio. And if you give it a try and you don't like it, we're going to give you your money back. Within 30 days, if you email support@biggerpockets.com and say, hey, you know what, real estate investing is not for me, or I just don't like Pro, we will give you 100% of your money back, no questions asked. So that's the deal for you guys. If you use the code YTEVAL24, that's the letters YTEVAL, then the numbers 24, you enter this at biggerpockets.com/pro. That's going to get you 20% off Pro. So you'll pay just $312 for everything that normally comes with Pro, plus all those extra bonuses. The Show Me Your Money Starter Pack, Demystifying the Housing Market Bundle, and the Ace Your Analysis Toolkit. I hope you all have learned something from this webinar and see that if you want to become a real estate investor, it really can be achievable. You just need to figure out where you're going to get your leads from. You need to learn how to analyze deals to figure out which ones are worth offering on. And you need to develop the right strategy and tactics for offering on good deals so that they actually get accepted. And if you want to supercharge that process, speed it up, get to that financial freedom faster, we recommend that you use BiggerPockets Pro, like tens of thousands of other investors have done. And if you do that today, again, using the code YTEVAL24 at biggerpockets.com/pro, you're going to get 20% off plus all the bonuses, all that great stuff. Thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you've learned something. If you have any questions or feedback for me, you can always find me on BiggerPockets. Again, I am Dave Meyer, and I'll see you guys around the BiggerPockets community soon.